Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're putting on our sports historian hats to examine an absolutely epic-defining career. We're looking at a figure who hasn't just played a sport, he's completely reshaped its global culture. We are, of course, talking about the one and only Lionel Messi.
48. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the total number of senior trophies Lionel Messi has won over his career, cementing his status as the single most decorated player in the history of professional football. But the real question, the one we really need to unpack today, is this. How did a boy from Rosario, Argentina, who was diagnosed with a severe growth hormone deficiency, defy literally every physical odd to rewrite the history books and achieve these impossible 48 trophies?
All right, let's jump into Section 1. The boy from Rosario. You know, to truly understand the legend, we can't start under the bright stadium lights. We have to start in the neighborhoods of Rosario. What you're seeing here is arguably the most famous piece of sports memorabilia in modern history, a contract scribbled out on a paper napkin at the Pompeia Tennis Club. At age 11, Messi's talent was undeniable, but his family simply couldn't afford his growth hormone treatments. Barcelona's sporting director saw this prodigy and committed to signing him and paying for his medical care right there on that napkin. It was a massive, massive gamble, but it forged this unbreakable emotional connection between the player, the club, and the fans who watched him overcome his early physical limits. And from that fragile beginning, just look at the sheer span of this timeline, starting with his official Barcelona debut in 2004 as a La Masia youth prodigy, soaring to his record-shattering 2012 season, then finally breaking his international curse with the 2021 Copa America, ascending to absolute godhood with the 2022 World Cup triumph, all the way to setting a record with his 6th World Cup appearance in 2026. This isn't just a list of dates, folks. It's a story of relentless, almost superhuman endurance.
Moving on to Section 2, Tactical Evolution and Dominance.
Here's the thing. Messi didn't just play the game. His tactical style constantly mutated so he could dominate entirely different eras of modern football. Let's walk through his 3 biggest evolutions. Step 1. Under Frank Rijkaard, he burst onto the scene as an inverted winger on the right flank, using that insane acceleration to cut inside onto his lethal left foot. Step 2. Under Pep Guardiola, he became the legendary false 9, drifting centrally to confuse center backs and just utterly terrifying defenses. And Step 3, during the MSN era alongside Suarez and Neymar, he evolved again, this time into a deep orchestrator, dropping into the midfield to act as a playmaker while still somehow scoring at will. And man, did that tactical intelligence drive some historic output. 91. That's the number of goals Lionel Messi scored in a single calendar year back in 2012. It's a Guinness World Record that mathematically shouldn't even be possible. He averaged a goal every 69 minutes of play. His ability to constantly adapt his positioning meant that opposing defenses simply could not solve the puzzle.
Which brings us to Section 3, the ultimate historical rivalry.
To really measure Messi's legacy, we have to look at his objective comparison to the only other player in his stratosphere, Cristiano Ronaldo. Looking at the side-by-side data, these two held a staggering duopoly over the sport, and we don't even need to take sides to appreciate it. Messi holds the edge in the ultimate individual prize, the Ballon d'Or, with an incredible 8 awards to Ronaldo's 5. Messi also leads in total career trophies, 48 to 37, and completely dominates in playmaking, with 414 career assists. On the flip side, Ronaldo commands the all-time goal-scoring record, boasting 973 goals to Messi's 914. It is an unbelievable statistical rivalry that pushed both men to the absolute limits of human potential. And we see this exact same rivalry mirrored on the international stage too. Both players conquered their continents, Messi leading Argentina to 2 Copa America titles and Ronaldo securing Euro 2016 and the Nations League for Portugal. Ultimately, though, Messi's crowning achievement at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar completed his international trophy cabinet, and it really brings full context to this historic parallel. Let's shift gears for Section 4, a global business empire. Because the impact of Lionel Messi definitely doesn't stop when he steps off the pitch. His worldwide influence has actually propelled his net worth right past the billion-dollar mark. He's been Adidas's leading global endorser since 2006, but recently, he's fully transitioned from endorser to mogul. In 2024, he launched the Mass Plus sports hydration drink brand and founded the 525 Rosario media production company. Fast forward to 2026, and he even acquired full ownership of the Spanish football club UE Cornellà. His cultural footprint off the field is just massive. That leads us into Section 5, Philanthropy and Social Impact.
Now, all that immense wealth hasn't just been for personal gain. His charity work is deeply, deeply thematic. Remember the boy from Rosario who needed medical intervention just to grow? Well, through the Leo Messi Foundation, which he founded in 2007, he reinvests in society by making sure vulnerable children get the exact kind of healthcare, education, and access to sports that he so desperately needed as a kid.
And this commitment translates into some massive, tangible action all around the world. He's been a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador since 2010, taking trips to disaster zones like Haiti, but he's also stayed incredibly committed to his roots in Argentina. He funded brand new dormitories for his boyhood club, Newell's Old Boys, and refurbished pitches in his old Rosario neighborhood. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, he stepped up with a €1 million donation to combat the spread and even paid the delayed salaries of the Argentine national team security staff out of his own pocket.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 6, an everlasting football legacy.
So, bringing our story right up to the present day, what actually happens when a global icon enters their final chapter? Well, for Messi, it meant the institutional transformation of the sport in an entirely new market. His move to the United States sparked absolute Messamania in Major League Soccer, radically expanding the sport's popularity and skyrocketing attendance across the country. And he didn't just show up to sell shirts, right? He dominated. He led Inter Miami to the 2024 Supporters' Shield, captured the 2025 MLS Cup, and was named the league MVP in both 2024 and 2025. He literally transformed a league overnight.
Talk about unmatched longevity. Just look at this run. Between 2022 and 2026, he secured a World Cup, his 8th Ballon d'Or, and an MLS Cup. But honestly, the most poetic detail from our sources is this. On June 17, 2026, when he stepped onto the pitch to play Algeria, he broke the record for a 6th World Cup appearance. And that specific date marked exactly 20 years to the day since he earned his first World Cup cap for Argentina. 2 straight decades of absolute global relevance. It's unheard of.
Which leaves us with one final provocative thought to conclude our explainer. We've seen his tactical genius, his statistical impossibilities, his sprawling business empire, and his deep social impact. He is an absolute historical outlier in every single sense of the word. So, as we look ahead at the future of the sport, we really have to ask ourselves, will football ever see another Lionel Messi? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into greatness. Let that question linger and keep exploring.